Hey guys, Mike Volkin here with Freelancer Masterclass.com. Before we get started, you know I love the sponsors. They're the ones who keep this great content going. So this is with Cover.ai is my sponsorship. And it's portable benefits for gig workers. So you get paid time off, sick leave, 24/7 health service, legal protection, all sorts of great stuff. So go ahead and check them out. And now we're going to get to our content. I'm going to talk to you today about needing a business license as a freelancer. I get a lot of questions about this, right? So do I even need one? So I'm going to go through the reasoning for needing one and the reasons why you may not think you will need one. And then if you do need one, we'll talk about the different types of business license you can get and the ramifications and benefits of that. So this will be a quick one, actually. That is a big intro, but we'll go through this very, very fast because a lot of this is very dry or could be very dry, and I want to keep this very topical. Okay, so first of all, do you need a business license as a freelancer? Yes, okay. Why? Because it protects your assets. I know I can count on two hands the amount of freelancers that I know that got into legal trouble because one, they promised something they couldn't deliver to a client. I know somebody who was a paid ad specialist who forgot to turn off a campaign once and it ran thousands of dollars on their client's credit card and got into legal trouble that way, right? There's a lot of unexpected and expected things that could go wrong as a freelancer. You just want to make sure your personal assets are protected. So what does that mean, personal assets? If you own a car, if you have a house, if you own lawn furniture, anything that could be sold to somebody else, that is at stake, because if you get sued and you lose in court, then you owe somebody money, and everything that you own has some kind of value to it. That's what I mean by personal assets, okay? So there's lots of different types of business licenses that you can get, and everybody's different. But generally, you see LLCs, S-Corps, and sole props. Being a sole prop doesn't protect you from your personal assets. So if you're going to go the route of getting a business license, you might as well make it an LLC or an S-Corp. Now, I can't advise you on which one to get. I'll tell you most freelancers, a vast majority of them are LLCs. You go the S-Corp route if you feel that you want to be an agency someday and you don't want to change corporate structure. That might be a way to do an S-Corp. I'm an S-Corp, but I'm not an agency for various other reasons. But generally what you'll see is most side hustlers and even beginner and intermediate freelancers are LLCs, all right? So why get an LLC? Well, first of all, there's flexible tax benefits. You have what's called pass-through taxation. This is where the things can get very dry very fast, so I'm going to keep it very topical. What does pass-through taxation mean? Well, basically, taxes are paid on your personal returns, so you don't have to set up a separate return for your businesses and one for your personal return, which obviously saves money. As of right now, as an S-Corp, my S-Corp is the IRS sees it as another individual. So it owns its own deposits and withdrawals and taxes and everything, just like me as an individual. So I file two separate set of taxes every year. Okay, with an LLC, you don't have to do that. You're considered a pass-through entity. Okay, and then also the big one, which we just discussed, personal asset protection. That's why you should get an LLC. Unfortunately, no matter how good you are, something is going to go wrong sometime in your freelancing career. And it's good to know that everything you own isn't at stake, okay? And it's really cheap to get an LLC, okay? So if you do go the LLC route, be sure to keep your business expenses separate and logged. Now, there's lots of programs that will help you do this. I do a couple things. I use QuickBooks, but I also use just a plain old spreadsheet. Whenever I send money out, I note it on the spreadsheet. Whenever I have money coming in, I note it on the spreadsheet. It's pretty easy. It's just a 5-minute exercise I do at the end of the day, okay? And then my bookkeeper can log in, rectify that spreadsheet with the actual transactions in QuickBooks. And if there's any discrepancy, he just lets me know, okay? So you can actually balance your books pretty easily to the penny with just that simple routine. And document all money transfers to third parties. All right. So anytime you send money out to anybody, whether it's a corporation or an even individual, for a business purpose, it should be documented on a spreadsheet. Be sure to get that receipt that you paid. If you don't have a receipt for whatever reason, your credit card history, your statement should at least be able to have that documented for you. Okay. And then review and comply with state and federal business regulations. You know, it's such a blanket statement that I have to put for legal reasons. You know, so always look into really what it takes to run an LLC effectively. So what you shouldn't do, though, on the flip side of that, you shouldn't commingle business and personal funds. So there's been some gurus out there that have been saying, oh yeah, you can go on vacation, just write it off on your business taxes. That's not true. Now, if the business is the majority of that visit or quote unquote vacation is for business reasons, that's something different. But you cannot use your personal funds out of your business account and vice versa. And you can be sure not to fund personal expenses with your business account or fund business activities with your personal account. So in essence, just look at this separately. Whenever you buy something, think to yourself, is this for business use or is it for personal use? If there's any doubt, you put it in the business use category, okay? That way at least it's documented and you're using it for a business purpose, okay? Now, for many of you, you might be turned off by this. Well, if I'm an LLC, I'm going to have to pay taxes. Sure, as you should, okay? But at least you're protected. It's almost like a business license is almost like insurance in a way. You're protected from your personal assets unless you commingle funds. That's what I mean by the word commingle up there. So if you do get sued, worst case scenario, you get sued, and then the opposing party's attorney has a discovery method basically where they can look into your finances and they can see if you've been mixing business funds with personal funds, then your LLC corporate veil is gone away basically. So there's been a commingling of funds and now you've lost that personal protection. That's why you want to keep everything as separate as possible. Okay, so the list of taxes you'll pay: federal income tax, state income tax, Social Security, Medicare, additional Medicare, FUTA, which is federal unemployment, and then workers' compensation. Yeah, that sounds like a lot, and it is, because especially in California, man, those politicians, they love to gouge small businesses with taxes. It's one of the worst states in the nation. But ultimately, I described this in Freelancer Masterclass, is the way you should do this is any money you have coming in as a freelancer, take 30% of that, or 35, but I just use 30 as a nice round number. 35% of that gross income, that main, like if you get in $1,000, you take 30% of that, $700 or $300, and you put it in a savings account and you don't touch it until tax time. That way, people aren't shocked when comes tax time and you probably won't be over the 30% mark, especially if you have expenses. And this is a whole other class, but you'll drive it down with expenses. But at least 30%, you're going to have a nice savings account for when business time comes that you want to scramble for money. You'll have that savings set aside. Most people, if they don't have that, they just use it up. And they're like, oh my God, it's tax time. I don't have any money saved. Oops. Yeah, that's a problem. So just make it a daily reconciliation of your bank account. I do this every single day. I go into my bank account. I look at the money coming in. I take 30% of that money and I transfer it over. I shift it over to a savings account. You need to do the same thing. Play it safe. Okay? Hope this helps. Good luck.